morning, dear children. Today we are going to discuss the demographic transition theory, and this is the last part of our chapter, world population, distribution, density and growth. Demographic transition theory can be used to describe and predict the future population of any area. This is very important for population studies. First, we have to understand a topic related to demographic transition theory, that is the demographic cycle. What is demographic cycle? It represents the changes in the population of a region as it moves from high births and deaths to low births and deaths. And the demographic cycle happens when a society progresses from rural, agrarian and illiterate to urban, industrial and literate society. So when the demographic cycle happens, it happens when the society progresses from rural, agrarian and illiterate to urban, industrial and literate society. This is a flowchart shown in your textbook. Look at that picture and analyze that picture very carefully. The changes in the population occur in three stages, that is collectively called demographic transition theory. So what is demographic transition theory? The demographic transition theory tells us that population of any region changes from high births and high deaths to low births and low deaths as a society progresses from rural, agrarian and illiterate to urban, industrial and literate society. This picture shows the three important stages of demographic transition theory. The original demographic transition theory contains 5 stages and it is proposed by W. Thomson. So here you only have to study 3 stages for your class 12th. See that picture? There are 3 stages: stage 1, stage 2 and stage 3. So in the x-axis we represent time and in y-axis we represent crude birth rate and crude death rate. As we can see, at the first stage the population is stable. And in the second stage, population is expanding. And in the last stage, population is low fluctuating. Let us study these 3 stages in detail. The first stage of demographic transition. This stage is marked by high fertility and high mortality rate. High fertility rate means high birth rate and high mortality rate means high death rate. Here the people are poor, illiterate and mostly engaged in agriculture activities. So the first stage of demographic transition is marked by high fertility rate, high mortality rate, the people are poor, illiterate and mostly engaged in agricultural activities, and also the life expectancy is low. So the population growth is also slow. There is no wide gap between birth rate and death rate, so the population growth is also very slow. You got it? Now the second stage. Here the fertility rate and birth rate remains high. Just like the first stage, fertility rate or birth rate remains high, death rate reduces. So death rate here reduces. Why? Due to improvements in sanitation and health conditions. So in the second stage, that is a stage of development. So the sanitation and health conditions improves. So the death rate reduces. But the fertility rate or birth rate remains high. That's why the population expands rapidly because of the wide gap between birth and death rate. So the second stage is marked by high birth rate, low death rate, thus the population growth is large. So the population is expanding at the second stage. And there is a natural increase in population. See? The natural increase in population happens in the second stage because the birth rate is high, death rate is low. So there is a natural increase in population. So the second stage of demographic transition is marked by expanding population. Now the last stage of demographic transition, that's the third stage. Both birth and death rate decline considerably. Both the fertility rate and the mortality rate decline considerably. The population is either stable or moves slowly because the birth and death declines. So there is a stable population or it moves very slowly. The population becomes urbanized, literate, and has high technical know-how. Their technological knowledge is high and they deliberately controls the family size. So in the third stage of demographic transition, birth rate and death rate decline considerably. Due to that, population is either stable or it moves slowly. People become literate, urbanized, and has high technical know-how, and they deliberately controls family size. In the present day, different countries are at different stages of demographic transition. So this is a very important topic and it is often asked for 5 marks. So study this very carefully. Okay, thank you.